Okay, everybody, this is chapter 11, section 4. We're adding and subtracting rational expressions, which basically means fractions. Okay, so a couple things when you add and subtract fractions, you need a least common denominator. So, that's stuff that you've done before. Obviously, with what we're doing now, it's going to be a little bit different, but the rules still stay the same. Okay, so first thing you got is a definition here. Okay, so we're going to find the lowest number that all the numbers will go into and the highest variable amount. So that's going to be, an exponent. Okay, so we're going to have to look at powers of exponents and stuff like that. If we're working with something that might be in parentheses, the least common denominator is going to be one of each piece or the quantity. So you're going to get, stuff like maybe like this as like a denominator and a fraction, and I have to add it to another fraction, but that denominator might be this. Okay, and it might not always be in parentheses either, but that's kind of doing the same thing. I need to take these guys and I need to kind of just squish them together and they become the common denominator. But remember, with common denominators, I got to multiply whatever to the top of the same fraction too. So we'll have to get our way through that one. All right. Okay, so just a little background on these common denominators. So I need to be able to add these first two fractions together, but I can't because the denominator is not the same. So, I kind of go, what does 4 and 7 go into? Because they both go into 28. Okay? So remember, I'm going to have to multiply this one by 4, whatever it might have been, and this one by 7, whatever it might have been, to make that work. Okay? Here, I got something a little bit different now. I got a variable and just a regular number, but they still could go into something that's the same. Basically, 3 and 8 go into 24, and there's going to be have to keep that x. I can't just get rid of it, so that becomes my common denominator. So this one, whatever was on the numerator on top, I would have had to multiply that by 3x also. Here, I would have had to multiply this by 8. Okay, just remembering what we need to do there. Okay, now this one kind of gets into this last rule that we had up here. Okay, these are really different. So basically, just take them and squish them together. Okay, so I just get that. So this one I'd have to multiply by x minus 4. This one I'd have to multiply it by x. Whatever it might have been. I also could, if I wanted to, I could distribute this out and get that. I could write it either way. It doesn't really matter, but just know that you can do that. Okay. All right. So coming down here, I just want to have you guys try these on your own, kind of using what we did up there. That kind of help out. So why don't you hit pause and see what you can get as the least common denominators, and right above it in the numerator what I have to multiply that by, even though there's nothing there. Just practice that. Okay, so hit pause and try those. Okay, so looking at these, 15 does go into 5, so I really don't have to change much here. I know that the least common denominator is going to be 15, but all I got to do is multiply this one by 3 to make that change. Okay, now looking at these two, I gotta be aware of the powers here, so they're different, and then I gotta find something that 10 and 6 go into. So 10 times 6 gives me 60, but I want least common denominator. Both of these guys go into 30, and I gotta take, in this case, the biggest power, so it would have been 3. Okay, so this one I had to multiply it by 3 to get 30, and I had to multiply it by a power of x to get x to the third. This one, all I had to do was multiply it by 5 to get 30 x to the third. Okay. And then this is kind of that parentheses rule that we just had up above. I want to be able to subtract these. And what's kind of nice for me or for you guys is that there's part of the denominator over here is part of this one over there. So my common denominator really is going to be what's the denominator in the first fraction. It's just going to be that, okay? Which means I don't have to multiply that by anything. But over here, I'm going to have to multiply it by x minus 2. So that might come into some distribution, whatever is up here. I might have to distribute it. I might even have to FOIL it. There might be something else up there I'll have to end up foiling. But remember that the tops are what I can put together. The bottoms, as long as I get an LCD, I'm done with the bottom. And I just got to mess around with the top. Okay? All right. So we're going to go here. We're going to look at this. I do have common denominators, so all I can do is leave it as it is and do what I'm supposed to do on top. I'm adding 4 and 7 and get that. Okay. This one, the denominators are both the same, so that's great. I just write it as 1, and I add the tops here. 3x plus 1x is 4x. Okay. Now we always want to try to reduce it, but if you remember from earlier in this chapter, this x and this x are totally different. I can't go ahead and try to get rid of them. I have to leave it exactly the way it is. I'm done. Some kids also might want to get rid of the 2 and 4, reduce that, and I still can't do it there. Remember, this is an add-in. They're pieces, and I can't get rid of pieces. I can only get rid of factors. 4x is really 4 times x. Those are factors. I could get rid of it with something else, but it had to be something that was a factor. Okay, so down here, once you give that a shot, hit pause and then see if we can put those together. So the denominator is the same. I could write it as 1, 2a, and 3a is 5a. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're coming here, and I'm looking, here's my denominator, this big old long thing, and that's pretty cool. They're the same, so I'm just going to write it as 1. And they're subtracting, okay? So I have to distribute this minus sign to both of these, so it really gives me negative 4x, negative 3, and now I can add it with this over here. So 7x minus 4x is 3x, and 5 minus 3 is 2, okay? But I want to try to reduce this, so if you notice right down here, I think I might be able to x factor out. Let's try. So 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. I got a negative 1 here on the bottom. And these need to be different. 3 and 2 multiply up, but then I got to go ahead and that's leading coefficients bigger than 1, so I got to go back and divide this. So remember, don't just change the sign because I'm not solving it. I'm just trying to factor it. I can reduce this one down to negative 1 over x. The 3's kind of cancel each other out. This one over here, I can't reduce. So now I'm going to get this. Sorry, you guys, I screwed up. That's a plus 2. Hopefully you guys saw me do that. Mess that up. I think it's my pen. I'm going to blame it on my pen. It's not working today. See, it wasn't working. Okay, so if I'm looking at, now I've got to try to factor it if I can, and look at this, I can get rid of same thing, okay? So on top though, I do have a 1 left over, and it's going to be over what I had left over on the bottom, okay? All right, so just something you have to be aware of as you go through these, okay? All right, once you guys hit pause and try these two aren't really that different. Just be careful of the subtraction sign, especially the second problem. Okay, so give it a shot. Okay, so that's that first one, pretty easy. Distribute those negative sign to both, so I get -3n minus 5. And the denominator is the same, so I could write it as 1. And 9 minus 3n is 6n, and -3 minus 5 gives me -8. Okay, and this is where you gotta stop yourself. Yeah, I did a great job, but I think I need to do more. If you look on top, there's a GCF of 2 that I could take out, and on the bottom there's also a GCF of 2 that I could take out, okay? So when I do that, I get this. And on the bottom, I get this. Okay? Why? Well, that allows me then to get rid of those 2's because those are factors. I'm multiplying that out. So my answer really is what I have left on the top and the bottom. Okay. All right. This next one, kind of same thing. You know, it looks pretty easy. I got, you know, common denominator already. All I got to do is distribute a negative sign through here, so that really makes that plus 5. So 7x minus that 6x is just x. And -3 plus 5 is 2. Okay? But you got to ask yourself now, can I reduce it? And typically that's going to be coming from some kind of factoring like we did in the previous problem. The bottom is a difference of perfect squares. Okay? So I'm going to get x and 2, but signs are different. And all of a sudden, hey, I can get rid of something that's exactly alike. There's still a 1 left on top, and I get this x minus 2 on the bottom. Okay? All right. Okay, so now we're getting into I don't have the same denominator. Okay, so you know, break this up. I look at the coefficients 6 and 2, and I'm going to rewrite both fractions. Okay, I know that 2 goes into 6 and it goes into it 3 times, and then I got a power of 2, so I want to make that my biggest power. So my common denominator is going to be 6x squared. To make this 6x x, I had to multiply the top and bottom by x. So I had to make this 6x squared. And to make this 6x squared, I had to multiply it by 3 top and bottom. Okay? So I'm going to get 5x over here, and I'm going to get 9 over there. Okay? Now I can write it as one denominator. And 5x plus 9, I can't add it, but I can kind of write it together. Okay. The only way I could have reduced that if there was something that went into all 3 of the numbers, and there's not. Okay. All right. For this one, I'm looking at both 6 and 4. I think they both go into 12. And then I do have a power of x, so I'm going to need that too as part of my denominator, okay? So to make this fraction have a denominator of 12x, I had to multiply the top and the bottom by 2x, okay? To make this denominator 12x, I had to multiply it by 3, so I have to do it to the top and the bottom, okay? So 2x and 5x is 10x squared. And 3 times 3 is 9. Okay? Since I have a common denominator, I can write it as 1. And 10x squared and 9, I can't really put them together, but I can write them together. Once again, take a look, all three numbers, and I'm talking about 10 and 12 and 9. Is there something that goes into all three and there's not? So I have to leave it like that. Okay? Okay, so we got a problem down here at the bottom. Why don't you hit pause and give this one a shot? I'll put the solution up. Okay, so taking a look at this, both 3 and 7, I think, go into 21. And my biggest power is y to the 4th, so I'm going to have to go there. And that kind of goes, you know, against our term least common denominator, but I can't take a power of 4 and put it into a power of 2. I have to go the other way. Okay? So to make the 7y to the 4th, 21y to the 4th, I had to multiply both sides, top and bottom, by 3. So 3 times 3 is going to give me a 9 later on. I'm getting ahead of myself. 7y squared to make it, 3y squared to make it 21y to the 4th. I had to multiply it by 7y squared. Okay. So now on top, let me erase these. Sorry, I did get ahead of myself. Get off the eraser. There. So multiplying this by 3. I'm going to get 9 over here. I'm multiplying this by 7y squared. Sorry for my mess. 14y squared. Okay. So I do have a common denominator. It's 21y to the 4th. And 14y squared and 9. I can't really put that together. So there you go. Okay. All right. Hope you follow all that. Sorry, kind of got turned around a little bit. All right. Okay. Okay. Now this is more of what you're going to have to be good at, and it's really not that hard. You know, I'm just going to really kind of be squishing stuff together. These denominators are not the same. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just take them and squish them together and say, hey, that's my denominator. Okay. So I'm gonna rewrite both of them with the common denominator, right? So that's not that hard. Just remember the rule. Take them. There's nothing I can do to make them the same. So just take them and put them together. That creates the same. But to do that, I had to multiply this by d minus 2 and this by d minus 2. I had to multiply this by, d plus 2. And I had to multiply this by d minus 1. Okay. So that's the part you're going to have to remember. Now, you want to be able to distribute now what you just multiplied to the top of each. So I'm going to have to distribute right here. I get 3d plus 6. I'm going to have to distribute here. I'm going to get 2d minus 2. Okay? Now, since I have a common denominator, I can write it as 1 and put the tops now together. But, you know, when you get the subtraction, you just got to remember I have to distribute a minus sign to this. So kind of like that the division that we did last section. So that's really going to become now a positive 2. So 3d minus, that's a minus now, 2d is just d. And 6 plus 2 is 8. So 6 plus 2 is 8. Right? There's nothing there that I can reduce, so I'm done. So it looks like a lot. The bottoms really shouldn't be hard if you just remember, hey, just stick them together. But I have to multiply the tops by the opposite denominator. Okay, so why don't you guys give this one a shot, and then I'll hit pause, and then I'll put the solution up. Okay. I'm just going to take the denominators. They're different. I'm just going to stick them together. There's nothing I can do to try to make them their own. But I have to multiply this top by c minus 2. And I have to multiply this top by 3c minus 1. Okay? So distribute that. C times c is c squared. And c times negative 2 is negative 2c. Right? 4, negative 4 times 3c is, actually I'm not going to do that, I'm sorry, screw that, I'm going to screw that up, I screwed that up, sorry. 4 times 3c is 12c, and 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Okay. Now I got to work with the minus sign. I'm going to have to distribute it here and here. That's going to make that a negative 12, and that's going to make that a positive 4. I can go ahead now and write the one fraction. I don't have another c squared, so just c squared. I've got negative 2c, and that was a 12c, sorry. Dang. It's going to get me negative 14c, and I got this positive 4. Okay. And I would like to try to factor the top, but I can't. All right, it won't factor. Okay. All right, for section summaries, we always got to look for least common denominator. Big thing is powers of exponents. We always want to use the largest. Oh, my pen is not working today. Always use the largest power. If you have, we were kind of working with binomials in the denominator today. Binomials, just push them together. All right. The other thing too, use your book. Go back and look at that chapter. Look at the first couple pages, before your homework page, and see what they're doing there. And then you guys, this is not easy, but if you can think it through and put a little bit more effort and time into it, you'll get it. And make sure you do the homework. If you don't practice it, you're not going to get it. So you got to give it a shot. All right. All right. Thank you.